This is not about a blow dryer. And if you thought it was, well, buckle up, Buttercup, because these conversations are hotter than that flat iron you're still wondering if you left on. I'm Kat, a hairstylist, educator, and one of the beauty industry's beautifully defiant misfits. This podcast isn't about viral hair trends, client bashing, or the latest formula for whatever shade of brown we're renaming this season. It's about the stories, the lessons, and the trial and error moments that shape careers, confidence, and the craft. So whether you're starting your journey in Cosmo School, thriving behind the chair, still finding your rhythm, or just looking for that push to get back on track, welcome to This Is Not About a Blow Dryer, where we talk beauty in a whole new way. Welcome back to This Is Not About a Blow Dryer. I'm Kat, here to have those conversations with you to help leave this industry better than we found it. Last week, I talked about my time in Cambodia working with the Justice and Soul Foundation, a Seattle-based nonprofit I've been connected to for over 11 years. Basically, they help at-risk youth and victims of sex trafficking by teaching them how to do hair. And they've built a school in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, where you have the opportunity to teach, but also different ways to help, donate, and just be a part of the foundation. And realistically, I haven't really stopped thinking about it or stopped thinking about the fact that maybe we don't know how to get involved. I was lucky enough to hear about it from a good friend while working with another organization and ended up working my way into it and have loved them ever since. But we want to make sure that other people know how they can get involved and just help in their own particular way. Especially in these times, I think it's really important. Nationally, a lot of nonprofits are starting to lose funding and have lost funding, which means a lot of the bigger nonprofits are now going for some of those private grants that usually help out the little guys. So we really want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help some of these smaller nonprofits that are losing a lot of funding and are feeling a little bit stretched thin right now. And I keep coming back to the idea of, okay, I know we care. I know we love what we do, and I know we want to help. But what can we actually do with that? And I think that's where a lot of times we get stuck. Because feeling something and building something are not the same thing, right? One is just an emotion that we can kind of get stuck in, and the other one is the action. So I want to talk to you a little bit of the action and how we can move forward. I'm particularly passionate about this, honestly, because I've seen what happens when a skill becomes someone's lifeline and really changes what comes next for them. And it's not a changes in theory, it's a real life changes. Not to get off track or anything, but something that I've noticed very recently, and maybe has always been there, but more and more my algorithm has brought up TikToks and rants and things where conversations are more about why the industry just isn't it. Why someone left, why they didn't make money, why they're back in school, why it's toxic, why it's dead. And I mean, I get it. Listen, this industry is not for everyone. It's hard. It will humble you sometimes, and it will expose your discipline very quickly. But when we constantly speak about it like it's worthless or like it's less than, we're in danger of minimizing something that maybe just didn't fit you. And worse, we might influence someone who could have been a perfect fit. And that's the part that bothers me about the conversation, is that we forget how influential we are, even if we aren't influencers. It's not that I feel attacked because honestly, my path was anything but easy. Okay. It was not. Listen, I know how to survive because I have starved and I have worked and I have cried and I have wanted to quit so many times in my career, especially at the beginning and honestly in the middle at some point too. But it's not easy. But a lot of good things aren't. And honestly, I have seen personally from my own experience what this craft can do to elevate your life, but even more so, how it can really be the tipping point to really elevate somebody else's life. And when the conversations that are happening are, I left because it's toxic. I left because it's catty. I mean, maybe it was, maybe you were in the wrong room. You can interpret it as you want, but that's not everybody's experiences. And when you speak about it like it's shallow or pointless or small, you flatten something that for someone else might be the bridge. And that feels very heavy. And if we're constantly stuck in toxic this, my old salon that, I don't make any money, or this client still sees yellow, whatever the fuck, okay? We shrink the conversation. We make it small, and this craft is not small. And that's the part I'm not willing to let get flattened. When we minimize what we do, we're pretty much just saying it's just hair. But in all reality, in what we do, there is no just when it comes to a skill that can feed you. There's no such thing as just a trade that gives you independence. There's no such thing as just knowing how to use your hands, your eyes, your brain, and turn it into income. In Cambodia, I watched young people walk into that classroom grateful to just be able to arrive there safely, unsure of themselves, unsure maybe even of their paths, but over time, not overnight, over time, posture changed, energy changed, voice changed, confidence changed. And not because someone gave them a pep talk, and not because it was easy, and not because suddenly something became less toxic, whether in their life or with the client, whatever. It was because they had something tangible, something that worked, something that paid, something that created options for opportunity that they knew they could maximize. Skill creates income. Income creates stability. Stability creates options. And options change outcomes. The Justice and Soul Foundation understands that. They're not handing out sympathy. They're not handing out structure. They're teaching disciplines. They're teaching trade and they're teaching technique. They're teaching a trade that can travel. And that is not to be minimized because that's leverage and that's opportunity. If you've been paying attention, you know that I say it all the time. I want to leave this industry better than I found it. That can't just mean better branding or bigger platforms, bigger stages. It has to mean impact that outlives us, that carries over and continues to make our craft anything but small. And one of the cleanest ways to do that is to use the craft itself. So bringing it back full circle, I haven't been able to stop thinking, what are things that we can do to help an organization like the Justice and Soul Foundation? So after recording last week's episode, I found myself thinking, what else can I do? Obviously I want to create as much awareness as possible. I want to support where I can. And I want to think outside the box. So I reached out to the Justice and Soul Foundation, and we were kind of chatting about, different opportunities and things that we can do. And, she's like, we've been trying to encourage people to host small events or create their own fundraisers. And if you know me, I love an event, I love a party, and I love a microphone. So this week, instead of just thinking about it, I pitched something. I went to Roger, who you guys met in one of the standards episodes. And if you don't know, he's the owner of the salon that I work at. We have a beautiful space located in Bellevue Square, Seattle's sister city. Basically, I was like, hey, can I use the space to host a nonprofit event? Of course, he had a bunch of questions and, he kind of wanted to pick my brain on what I saw for the event. And I was like, what if we did like a live podcast event where we had the Justice and Soul Foundation people here and we could interview, we could do a live feed or broadcast. We could do a hair show between, maybe even some fun raffles and just get some really cool swag and brunch or whatever. My idea was just let's bring stylists together. Let's be creative. Let's make it excellent and let's make it matter. Now, please go watch the standards episode so you can get a feel of like who I'm pitching to when I'm saying all of this. And, he didn't even hesitate. He was like, that is a no-brainer. I love that. I love what it sounds like the organization is doing. And yeah, I mean, let's be creative and let's build community. That sounds really cool. He was like, this is going to be on you to plan, but yes, absolutely. Use the space, do it, do what you will. Obviously, run some things by me, but it's yours. And so when we were at our team meeting this last week, he brought it up to the team. And what got me wasn't necessarily that it wasn't relative to the meeting. And honestly, I have nothing planned yet because it was just an idea. But he was so excited to share it with the team. And what moved me most was how quickly my teammates were like, how can I help? What do you need? When do we start? Okay, do we want to split up and divide and conquer? These people work on the hair portion, so you can work on this. Do we need to find donors? Like, maybe we should turn this more into a three-part series. What if we extended it and turned it into like a part two, which is some complimentary education for stylists where they're just donating to attend, and whatever we raise, we can give to the organization. And then maybe part three is just a big hair show or something that leads into Fashion Week. And it was awesome. It was so cool. Sometimes helping isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's not, here's your $20,000 check. Sometimes it's not flying across the world. Sometimes it's just creating motion. Sometimes it's just an idea and understanding that you're in the right room and people in that room taking that invitation and saying, let's build community and let's do something with this. Let's help. You don't have to solve global systems, but you can create a room, and rooms with the right people who equally want to help change things. Look out for that event. If you are in the greater Seattle area and you would like to attend, please send me an email at katiasoriano11@gmail.com. That is also going to be down below, but I will be sending invites. I'll also be stopping by salons to give formal invites. Hopefully, I know you and I'll be stopping by. But if I don't, please reach out. We want to get as many people there to just really help support this cause. Looks like it will be about end of May. So I will be keeping you posted. Again, my team is just kicking butt and creating something really awesome, and I'm so excited to see it. But if you want to get involved even sooner, there is still the opportunity. Purchase your ticket for the Dinner Foundation on March 9th at the Phoenician in downtown Seattle. I personally will be there also, so please come say hi if you are also attending. You also have the opportunity to attend Salon Services event and class on March 16th, where 100% of the proceeds go directly back into that school. That is a Moroccan oil hosted class, balayage class, I believe. So, spruce up your balayage a little bit and give to a good cause. Like I mentioned this spring, we're building something bigger, and we are going to go live podcast event plus a hair show where every dollar raised will go directly to Justice and Soul. Probably be going brunch style because let's be real, Mondays are our inventory days, so Sundays are our have fun days. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss that one, not just because it sounds like an amazing, awesome event, but because if we believe our craft has power, we should use it. And right now, we have an opportunity to come together and really build community within each other and help. So, if you've been wondering where to help, here's Elaine. All the details are going to be in the show notes. So, if you want to attend your dinner, that will be down there as well with the links. So is the Moroccan oil class, plus an email to reach out if you're interested in upcoming sneak peek details of our live broadcast event, where all proceeds will go to the Justice and Soul Foundation. When I say I want to leave this industry better than I found it, it's not designed to say, let's pretend to be perfect. It's not designed to say, ignore the hard parts. It's going to be easy. This industry is so sexy and appealing and this and that. When I say, let's leave this industry better than we found it, I mean these moments where we can come together through our craft and change lives, not just by making people beautiful, but also teaching people how to provide for themselves by making people beautiful. Let's point that energy somewhere powerful. Let's not take for granted what we do. Let's not forget how incredible what we do is, and let's stop minimizing it. And let's come together and maximize this, baby. That's how we leave this industry better than we found it. So check out the links below, buy your tickets. I will hopefully see you next week at one of the dinners. Get involved with the Justice and Soul Foundation. Send me your email, get your early invites, and I will see you next time when we have another conversation that's not about a blow dryer.